right, it's showtime. We are here with another episode of Bullheaded, episode 33. And as usual, I'm with my boys, P. Bush and Zoo. What's up, fellas?
Not too bad, Sean. Zach LaVine getting the nod. I think.
Bravo! That's my boy, man. Well deserved, man. Well deserved, man.
You know, it's a pretty stellar all-star cast this year. Obviously, a little different down there, and I think they're playing in Atlanta, right? But it's still going to be a fun time to watch.
Oh man, my boy Zach LaVine, he grinded for this all. He got better, man. He got better in everything, and he deserves it. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his family. I'm happy for Bulls Nation because we got an all-star baby. It's been too long, man.
Yes, sir.
It's been too long, man.
Yeah, Zach LaVine, he's been balling. You cannot deny that. He's definitely putting the Bulls on his back. And like I said, I think with that roster you guys got, there's a lot of future all-star that's going to be on there. So kudos to him and all the other guys who got. But unfortunately, we're going to start with the guys who did not make it to the All-Star. Like you say, sometimes it can be flexible because we don't know which guys, because there's been a lot of chatter of guys maybe sitting out because they don't want to play, maybe some injuries. So some reserves that didn't make it might be able to get pushed on. But as of right now, I'm going to ask the guys, who was their biggest All-Star snub? And P. Bush, I'm going to start with you, man.
This is a tough one, man, because it's like the fans voting, Zoo. I don't know how you think about that. I think it should be the players voting, to be honest. I think that half the time fans don't even know who the hell is worth being voted for or if it's just a brand name. But honestly, I'd say that the selections were pretty damn good this year.
Good. Really good, man.
I really can't hate. You know, it was actually a little difficult out of maybe one or two players that I thought maybe were snubbed. But other than that, besides, I was happy. My biggest snub was going to be Devin Booker, man. I mean, Devin Booker, absolutely. But AD, everyone knows, you know, he's got the injury issues right now. So he got the nod. I think everyone's happy. That was definitely everyone's number one. But, man, I'm going to go with two big men out of the East as my biggest snubs. We got Domantas Sabonis averaging 22 and 11 on 53% shooting. He's got his team fourth in the East.
Man, not for long, man. It's a half a game, man. It's a half game, man.
But, look, man, he's been balling, and I think that it came down to him and Vucevic. I would say it was kind of down to those two guys.
I'm actually happy Vuce made it because that dude dropped 40, man. He dropped 40 on the Bulls, looking like Shaq, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's been playing hell of good, so I can't really, hate on the NBA for, snubbing some people. It's just they don't have enough spots of what I believe some of these players were worth. And the other one is Bam Adebayo on the Miami Heat, man. He's averaging around 20 and 10 with 5-6 assists a game, 57% shooting. And hey, man, they've won 4 in a row. They're moving up the Eastern Conference. I think they're up to the 7th or 8th seed right now, and that
still
can easily
lower
jump.
Seed than the Bulls, man.
Like you said, Zoo, half game, man, half game out. There is a lot of movement between that 4th seed and that 10 seed, and then there's kind of a jump into those top 3. So I think that Bam, I mean, people might shout out Jimmy Butler a bit, but he's had, he's been out a little while. He's not playing that great. But like we said, it's a midway season thing that this is a decision for in the All-Star game. Things can obviously change. But, man, it's got to be Sabonis and Adebayo for me. I think those guys could have made it, but I am not mad at the Vucevic pick because he's damn well deserved it as well.
Yeah, I got to give the coaches a round of applause because it was almost exactly as my prediction, man. Exactly, because I had Julius Randle in this year because I think he deserved an All-Star, man. Yep. Obviously, I had my boy Zach LaVine as a lock. The Tatum and Brown deserve it. So the East, like Vucevic, I even put in Vucevic this year because of his individual accolades of just carrying a pathetic Orlando team that's been destroyed by injuries. So I think the East is pretty close to flawless. And in the West, man, in the West, man, you know my opinions about big men, right? Big men, I think, are irrelevant.
There you go.
Here we go.
Do you know what center that made it? Rudy Gobert, man.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know they got the number 1 seed. They killing teams right now. They just
you see that last night?
Yeah, they're beating teams by like 10 plus points every single game. They are dominating right now. They're the best regular season team in basketball right now. So I know they want to reward winning. But Rudy Gobert is zero offensive game. Zero offensive game, man. You got Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, man. Joe Ingles shooting threes. Jordan Clarkson as he's obvious like as sixth man. Yeah, sixth man of the year, right? So you're talking about those guys like they got a nice little squad, and Rudy Gobert as the defensive anchor. Okay, he's a defensive anchor. But offense is more important than defense, man. Offense is objectively more important than defense. Do you know why? Because do you know what they say? Good offense is better than a good defense, man. You can play perfect defense, but then you can drain a shot on people, man.
Dude.
Yeah. But
what about the Chiefs?
But that's a different sport, man. That's a different sport, man. No, NBA, NFL, completely different. What? And the Chiefs had O-lineman injured, man. So it wasn't a great offense without the elite O-lineman, man.
You're always about the offense in any sport.
I'm taking Rudy Gobert out, right? And not gonna lie, man, I'm taking him out. So that's the guy I have out, man. And you know the forwards, man. I was pleasantly surprised that my man Zion Williamson made it because the man deserves it. He deserves it, and the coaches do it. So I'm happy I didn't have to.
He's playing well.
25 and 6 on 60% shooting. 60% shooting, man. That is unbelievable. This dude has been a balling, man. I blame the offensive, I blame the roster construction for not having a better record, man. Yeah. But obviously with him out, man, I'm gonna move Zion in. So the wild card, man, I'm gonna put in a guard, man. So I got some options, man. Your boy Ja Morant deserves consideration. Yeah, Ja Morant. And I'm putting him in. I'm putting in Ja Morant instead of Rudy Gobert.
You are. Really?
Man, how is Memphis winning? I don't know how they're winning. That roster is trash. I'm sorry.
They're playing the Clippers right now.
I do not know how they have a
they're
good
winning
record,
at halftime.
Man. They're only one game below 500. Jaren Jackson has not played all year, man.
Nope.
It's Ja Morant, a bunch of young guns.
And he's the young gun himself.
Exactly. So it's they're close to 500 ball club, man. I think Ja Morant deserves to be in an all-star game. Rudy Gobert plays defense. That's all he does.
I agree, Zoo. I think, Ja isn't a bad toss-in for the wild card, like you said, because obviously they do need to get a front court guy in. But you're saying you get rid of Rudy, you move Zion out of the wild card into the forward position. Okay, and then bring Ja in. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. Ja was really the only guy that I considered to be somewhat of a snub in the West. Just that the fact that Devin Booker got in. I was a little concerned that they easily put CP3 in there and didn't even consider Booker at the first place. That's
interesting. That's interesting. The coaches believe that Chris Paul has more impact on the Suns than Devin Booker. It's very interesting.
Well, if you look at their record, he's really the only addition that they've had year over year. So he's kind of the one making the difference. Yeah. So I get that call. But look, they made it right, obviously, knowing what happened with Anthony Davis. Ja's tough, man. But look, I got to defend Rudy Gobert here, man. He's the most dominant player in his own right at his position, man. I mean, yes, Nikola and Joel,
dominant player at his position.
At what he does. I said at what he does.
His role.
So Nikola and Joel are they're better offensive centers. They're better overall centers. But if you're looking for a guy to complement all those shooters that you brought up, he is the definition of what you want on your team, and he does his job night in and out. They thwarted the Lakers last night by 25, man.
Oh my God! Without AD, man. Without AD, man. It's LeBron with a bunch of trash bags again, man. It's like the Cleveland roster, man, with the first seed. Yeah, dude. People hype up this Lakers roster saying that it's a great team. No, it's not a great team. It's just LeBron, AD, a bunch of old dudes. Oh, bag of bones. Marcus Gasol, man, that dude's gonna pass out in a game, man. That dude should retire soon. His brother back in Spain, man. Marcus Gasol probably gonna go after this year because that man's got 0 game left.
Dude,
zero game.
They lost to the Jazz by 25 with Donovan Mitchell shooting 25% from the field. What do you have to say about that?
I gotta say that's some great team basketball.
And LeBron took 7 shots.
Yeah, hit an awful
30
game.
minutes.
He had an awful game, man. Poor shooting, awful game.
I mean, and look, I know the Lakers are going to come back in the playoffs and do absolute wonders. We all know that. But
they need AD though. They are irrelevant without AD because that team is bad.
They're looking like the 2018, whatever the first year LeBron was there, man. That team was bad the first year that he was there. The only year he hadn't made the playoffs since his first couple. But look, man, they're the best team right now. They're you know Zoo better than anybody. That the best record in the league gives you certain one-ups on all the other teams, whether it comes to MVP voting. MVPs usually come from the top couple seeds, right? Usually the number 1 seed. Same with All-Stars, man. It was bound to happen. They clearly saw Ja having missed early parts of the season as probably also a reason why they didn't give Jimmy Butler a nod, right? Missing games early on. Even though the Grizzlies are playing well and Ja's making an impact, Rudy Gobert has been making an impact the entire season on the best team in the league at this current moment. He's going to get that nod. I can't hate him for it. I do agree. I would rather see Ja play alongside Zion, dude. Oh, that would be great.
Those top 2 picks, man.
I know. That's a hell of a draft in hindsight.
They're studs, man. Absolutely
hell of a draft. It's going to be fun to watch, man. I'm excited for the game.
But I am actually rooting for Utah to be the number 1 seed.
Same.
Then we get LA second round, man.
Yeah.
There's no way they both lose in the first round. So we get that guaranteed matchup, man.
Yeah, unless the Clippers blow another 3-1 lead, man, and playoff P comes back.
No, oh my lord. against the Nuggets again.
Yeah, very possible.
That would be
Nuggets are lurking.
Insane. Yeah. The Nuggets will probably be a playoff team. Like I said,
Nuggets are 7th seed right now. They're actually against the Clippers if the playoffs
started. The Spurs, though. Any thoughts on the Spurs? Just real quick, man. I don't know how they're playing.
I'm sleeping on the Spurs.
They got a lot of young.
Going to be low, man. I'm going to have a good night's sleep on the Spurs because they ain't doing anything, man.
They just got a lot of. They got Rosen and Aldridge, and they just got a bunch of super young wings, which are they got. I would say they got more so intriguing pieces this year. They got the 2 main guys, but I like their young core. I think Walker, Vassell, and there's another guy. They got a lot of young people, and I think Murray, DeJounte
They're well coached.
Yeah. That's going to happen.
They're going to sit around 500, maybe a couple games over by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They might.
I would be willing to watch the Spurs in the playoffs.
Well, of course not. They're just gonna end up making the play-in game or the play-in series. I think they'll be an 8th or 9th seed. It's possible. Really depends on if the Grizzlies and Pelicans can make any moves. There could be a lot of movement on both sides. But definitely
we got Otto Porter for sale, man. He's on clearance. We'll take anything. Yep. Give us the 60th overall pick.
Give us Kristaps.
I saw something where I think Boston said they were interested in Otto Porter Jr.
We'll take him for anything.
Sure. Take another small forward. You guys clearly don't.
I don't even know what they would give back though, unless it's a pick. Probably
we'll take a second rounder. I don't care, man. I'm sick of Otto Porter being injured. that dude wears more suits like a lawyer than NBA games, man. He's always suited up, man.
Hey, he's got that $20 million to pay for him. That's for sure.
You know who else was like that? Was Batum for Charlotte. Was always in a suit, sitting on the sideline. Then as soon as he gets to the Clippers, he's actually playing halfway decent. It's crazy. It's all about motivation. And if you're interested in playing, you're going to play. Like you say, he was in Charlotte and they were losing. So, yeah, I'll put on a suit and collect this money. It's crazy. But Sabonis for me, man, that was the one that hurt me the most because I don't get what you say. Vucevic, 40 points, whatever. Sabonis is doing it on a better team. I know the Magic had a bunch of injuries, things of that nature.
They're 500, man.
Yeah, but Sabonis is. And if you could argue, if you look at Sabonis, just how he plays the game, you could argue he's a top 5 big man and maybe top 4. He's really skilled. Can shoot the 3.
Dude, he's shooting 40. He's shooting 50% from 3. Or he's sorry, not 50%.
I'll say Embiid, Jokic. I would take Gobert, but in terms of all around, I would take Sabonis over Gobert because Gobert can't do nothing, like Zeus said. Offensively, nothing.
He could give you 14 a game. That's all you need him to do. He'll give you 14.
But he's got to have a point guard too that can get it to him like that. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. And you know who else? I don't think he should have made it, but I feel bad for Mike Conley because he's never made it.
I agree.
He's never made it. He's been consistent.
You know why he doesn't make it? Because every year he's just a nice player. He's never been an all-star his entire life, and he'll never make it, especially
he would have been in the West. That's the point. Yeah, the West.
No, even in the East, man.
Oh, he would have made it in the East once or twice.
Conley or Trae Young. Trae Young didn't even make it. I'm taking.
No, he wouldn't. No, dude, he would have made it in. He would have made it in years past. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
if he had played in the East.
Dude, 16-6 for his career, man. That's not all-star numbers. 16. That's so average. That's D-Rose rookie year, man.
There's been no NBA. I think I remember reading something that there's been no NBA All-Star guard, reserve or starter that has averaged less than 17 and 5 a game, and he's under both of those this year. He's been over those in years past. He's been over those in years past for sure. He's averaged 19 and 7, 19 and 8 in his career, but he's in the West. So I agree. It could be considered a snub because their defensive efficiency when he's on the floor,
even
with
great,
Gobert,
man.
it's ridiculous.
Oh,
He's the definition of an above average player that you want in your starting lineup. That's Mike Conley at its finest.
He got paid all-star money, but was never an all-star in a day in his life.
Hey, better than Otto Porter.
Oh, that dude got paid all-star money and barely a starter.
Georgetown's finest. But sticking with the NBA, another topic, another day, another trade, I guess rumor. Saw a couple things on the timeline when I was doing posts for Instagram and all that stuff, and I saw Kristaps come up as a possible trade partner with the Warriors. And I kind of thought to myself, like, I don't really understand that unless it's just, I could see Dallas want to just get rid of him because they feel like his health or something that they don't know about, or they know about. They just are trying to, I guess, stay in front of it. But I'm going to ask the guys, what do you think? Should they go? Should Dallas trade him? Should Dallas keep him? Should the Warriors even be interested? If so, who should they, maybe give up from their team? And Zoo, I'm going to start with you, man. What's your thoughts on Kristaps?
Nah, stop it, man. You're not going to break up the dynamic duo of Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. I saw them in the bubble against the Clippers, man. And that pick and roll was so beautiful, man. That pick and pop game was unstoppable. Every time he shoots a three, it looks like it's a wide open three in practice because the man is too tall for basketball, man. Like the dude's just chucking cannons out there, man. So his fit with Luka Doncic is perfect. But the thing is, man, like I said, the man's a little too tall for his own good, man. 7'3", always injured, man.
Yep.
The huge injury bug, but like Luka Doncic, you have this once in a chance in a player, right? This guy is a superstar for the next 10 to 15 years. You got to maximize his potential, even in his rookie contract. So you need to pair him with the Robin. And outside of Kristaps Porzingis, who's their Robin? Tim Hardaway? Hell no, man. They shipped out the next best guy from last year, Seth Curry, for Josh Richardson, who can't shoot basketball, man. The man can't shoot a damn basketball. So he lost his shooters. The team, Trey Burke, the roster is not that good outside of Luka Doncic and Porzingis. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, they gave him money just for winning that one championship in 2011, right? So all the respect to Mark Cuban for doing that, but he ain't no baller. He ain't no NBA player anymore, man. That's a lifetime achievement award right there, man. That's an NBA pension right there for getting a ring from Mark Cuban. So the roster is bad. Like if you're gonna trade Porzingis, you need to get an all-star back. You need to get an all-star back. And I don't see anyone willing to trade an all-star caliber player for a guy that's injury prone. But if I'm the Chicago Bulls,
I was just going to say.
Oh, man, I might be like, okay, we got Lauren Marketing. We got Otto Porter Jr. We'll give you a second-round pick. We got a deal? Because I will gladly take the risk of taking Porzingis on the Bulls, man. I'll take him. Him and Wendell Carter Jr., man, I love it.
And Wendell's been playing well, I will say. I think
Wendell's been balling ever since he came back from injury.
I think this may be the first time Zoo's actually given credit to a big man who is not a three-point shooter right there with Wendell Carter, and it's only because he's on the Bulls, man. But this is tough because, like you said, Zoo, I mean, they don't hate his offensive game. He's averaging but where the issue lies is his defense, man. It is atrocious. This man, when he is really on the floor, the Mavericks opposition is averaging 120 points per game. When he is not on the court, they're averaging 108 points per game in their opposition. So a 12-point difference by simply having a man on the court, giving you 21 a game, but their defensive efficiency drops immensely when he's on the floor. And so I think that could end up being an issue that I think is the reason why these rumors are started. Mark Cuban shut it down pretty quickly. He pretty much shut down the rumor. Yeah, any good businessman would. Yeah. But look, man, I think that they're, like you said, Zoo, they need to get a good player back, but that's not going to happen. He's too expensive. He's got 3 years left on like $150 million contract, whatever it is. Injury prone. He does not have the jump and the get up that he used to. He's clearly not the same player. I really don't think he is. But the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls have a lot of pieces to work with. Some young talent that they might be willing to move around. The Hornets need to make a move to pair somebody with
They hit
LaMelo.
the jackpot, man.
Yeah, they
LaMelo Ball. I'm telling you right now,
Baller.
the Golden State Warriors will forever regret not drafting LaMelo Ball and pairing LaMelo Ball with Steph Curry.
They be in the playoffs, firmly in the playoffs.
And then Klay Thompson comes back next year. Oh my Lord, that would be showtime. Yeah,
and you got a future.
Yeah, you got your future. But man, they took the best fit with James Wiseman, which what did I say about big man? Guards have more impact, man. And you see LaMelo Ball got the Charlotte Hornets actually a little relevant. They're actually a little relevant now. Like they're in the playoff hunt. They're the 7th seed right now,
which isn't saying much, but yeah, they're in there.
Conversation.
But look, if they're looking to pair for the Bulls or the Hornets, they both have a star. I'm not going to say LaMelo's an all-star quite yet. That give him another year, but he's playing very well, and you're trying to build your team. If there's one person that's going to take a risk on making a trade like that, it is Michael fucking Jordan. I swear to God, that's going to be the only man that does that. But I don't think he will. I really don't think either team could pull it off. I think the Mavericks will end up pulling out. I think they'll just bite the bullet and hope he gets better. And if not, trade him next year. Unless they have a really enticing offer from the Warriors. But I don't know what would the Warriors have to give up, Zoo? If you were the Warriors, what would
probably James Wiseman.
I'm not
James Wiseman. Yeah, package around James Wiseman because
I'd ask for Klay Thompson.
Yeah, you ain't trading the Splash Brother. Come on, stop it.
Yeah.
You ain't trading Klay Thompson.
But if I was the Mavericks, that's what I'd ask for. If you're looking,
they ain't trading Splash Brothers, man.
It really depends if the Mavs want players in good mode right now, right? You know, a good solid player, or if they're fine with taking draft picks. But I don't think they are. Then again, Luka's young, so they have time.
Yeah,
it's tough. I
think all this stuff with the NBA trade rumors and all that stuff, I kind of think it's just smoke. Now, I do think Mark Cuban said that because that's what you're supposed to say because he's on your team. But I don't think for any second that he wasn't on the phone because just knowing Mark Cuban's personality, I think he knows Kristaps has the potential to be great and do great things. But like Zeus said, at that height, he's going to always have issues. And I feel like as he gets older, it's going to continue to probably be, things he's maybe out for a month. It might be 2 to 3 months. And then it's kind of like at that point, he's probably going to get a new contract and you don't want to pay him that much money and he's constantly always hurt. So you'd have to probably find the right trade partner because you got Luka. You got to make something work. He's a generational talent. You can't just, you got to be aggressive because like you say, I don't know Luka, but these stars in NBA, you got to make them happy. I'm thinking the same thing right now with the Boston Celtics. Like, I think I saw they're out of the playoffs. They better figure it out quick. Because if not, I know Tatum and Brown just signed 2 years. They're going to be looking around. So like I feel like when you got a star like that, you better figure out.
Come to Chicago, Jason Tatum. Play with Zach LaVine. We got an all-star. I want some recruiting, Zach. I want some recruiting in Atlanta, man. I want to see it.
I think you know what? He said I'm preparing for Atlanta. So who knows what that means, Zoo? We could get another rumor going. Just start it up.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
That would be a crazy pairing though. Tatum and what's his face? Levine. That would be nasty. But switching sports for this final topic, we're going to be talking about quarterbacks. It's kind of crazy. I put it on Instagram today during the stories. Like the NFL is starting to slightly become in the offseason like how the NBA is, with just all these people demanding trades and he said, she said types of deals, and the agents coming out and qualifying it, putting a lot of stuff out there. Russell Wilson, which most people would probably think like Russell has an issue with something, but he's kind of thrown out a couple of feelers with his offensive line, saying they don't block for him and things like that. So, he put out a couple of lists of teams that I guess it was kind of confusing how it was like framed. Like, hey, if I wanted to trade, these are the teams I wanted to go to. So he's kind of putting it out there. Hey, I could be had and, Seattle might make a deal. So I'm going to ask the guys, which teams would be the best fit for Russell if on the chance he was traded? And P-Bush, we know the direction you're going to go, so go ahead and sell it for us.
The Chicago Bears, baby. You know it. If Russell Wilson, first of all, I do have to say this because Sean, you hit the nail on the head. I was so surprised because Andy sent me the tweet and he goes, have you seen this? And of course, as a Bears fan, I was like ecstatic for about 10 minutes, man. But then I realized I got a 1 in 25% or 1 in 4 shot right there, 25% chance. I'm surprised Russell Wilson. He's such a quiet guy. This guy, the only thing I feel like I've heard him talk about is that he spends $1 million a year on his health, similarly to LeBron. I feel like that's the last big media thing I've heard him talk about. But he's been there for his entire career. He's won Super Bowl. He's pretty much stayed very on good terms with his head coach for that long. That's pretty impressive, unless you're talking about Brady and Belichick. But he's clearly unhappy, and it's likely to do with their extreme amount of talent, but he doesn't think that – I think everyone's bought in. Maybe Pete Carroll isn't getting the players riled up as like he used to with the Legion of Boom. So I think the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints, in my opinion, are two of the more win-now teams if you were to throw Russell Wilson into that situation. He's got the Cowboys, but I really don't think the Cowboys, they're all in on Dak Prescott. They don't even have the ability to trade Dak because he's a free agent. So they don't have that much. They could obviously move an Amari Cooper or Zeke, but I don't think they really want to do that just to get Russell Wilson when they could just sign Dak, who already knows the system. Yeah. And then you got the Raiders. I don't know who the hell would want to trade Russell Wilson for Derek Carr straight up. That is not happening. And look, the Saints and the Bears, they don't really have a quarterback to include in a trade package. They'd have to probably both end up giving multiple draft picks because both of theirs are not that great of value at 20 and 28 respectively this year. They were going to have to throw in some sort of talent, whether that be Michael Thomas for the Saints, Khalil Mack for the Bears. They're going to have to entice the Seahawks to give up a generational type of quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in Russell Wilson. It's going to be a hell of a time. I think Ryan Pace, of all the GMs, has the most to lose if he doesn't make this trade. And Zoo said it multiple podcasts over the past almost year now, right? Ryan Pace, how the hell does he have a job? I don't know. This is his last freaking chance, man. Him and Nagy, this is their last. Trubisky gave them one shot with this last playoff series. He gave them one more year to work it out, and this is their opportunity. He called out the Bears, and he said, I would not mind being traded there. Well, get your ass on it and get him over here. I need a good quarterback. We've never had one. Yeah. I'm heated about this, man.
Yeah. This is a redemption story for Ryan Pace, baby. You got Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson unhappy in their current situation, right? So you're a big-time city. You got some of the best fan base in the NFL. They're dying for a relevant quarterback, and that's all they need because they got the defense on lockdown, man. Their D-line, man, unbelievable defense, man. So you need a quarterback to lead that offense, even though they got a poor O-line. They got some nice skills positions. Nice running back, nice little wide receiver. So you got a little talent on the offensive end, but even though the O-line is trash. But Ryan Pace, man, you got Russell Wilson saying, come get me. Come get me. And that list, man, Dallas coming out. They're keeping Dak Prescott. New Orleans Saints, you still got Drew Brees. We still don't know if he's coming back or not. So that's still up in the air right now. Vegas. So Vegas Raiders or the Chicago Bears. He going to the Chicago. He wants to go to the Chicago Bears, right? Because if he wins a Super Bowl in Chicago, man, you will be a legend, man. You will be a legend.
A legend, yes.
What, are you kidding me? Like, especially even Chicago as a sports town, they just love the Bears more than any other sport, regardless of how
no matter how bad they are.
Yeah, no matter how bad or irrelevant they are, man. Like people talking about the '85 Bears, that's all they got, and it's been irrelevant since. Like that '85 Bears, people probably more like those Bears more than like the Jordan Bulls for some reason. In Chicago's is all football, even though they've been sorry and pathetic, man. But now this is your opportunity.
It is
4 first-round picks. Let it go. Let them fly, man. Just unlock the bullet shells and unleash all the baggage to get this guy, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for redemption. And if you get Russell Wilson on this franchise, I will be no longer making that bet with you, P. Bush, on that 9-10 wins, because Russell Wilson's just too good, man. He's a complete quarterback, mobile, accurate, man. Great leader, intangibles. He has it all, man. And if they get an O-line with Russell Wilson, they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Wow. Never thought I'd hear that out of Zoo.
Yeah.
You know what the biggest thing for me is? Twice a year we'd get to see Russell and Aaron Rodgers face off in that divisional game.
Right.
Ooh, I'm tired of watching Rodgers handle this division like it's his Sunday dinner every single year, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. He just eats it up so quickly. It's not even a thought. People are putting them at 13-3 projections. The next best team is the Vikings coming in at like an 8-8. You know, it's written off every year. The Bears had a fluke a couple of years back, as we know, and the defense carried them. The defense is kind of hitting its tipping point, in my opinion, though, Zoo, with the Bears. So if they're going to pull this off, they have maybe another year or two, in my opinion, of a Super Bowl window. So they're going to really have to get Russ and give up, obviously, probably 3 first-rounders at least, and then use their second and third round picks and so on to just build that O-line if they're able to pull off that trade. And look, they pulled off good trades in the past. They got Brandon Marshall for 2 3-rounders, a handful of years back. They got Mac. They clearly know what they're doing in trade packages. They just don't know how to draft and pick the right guys, right? And so this is their opportunity to do what they're actually not too bad at.
First round picks for the Chicago Bears under Ryan Pace are less valuable because the GM is so stupid. So might as well get an established player that everyone knows that Russell Wilson's good at football. So prospect drafting, not his forte.
Granted, he's only had 1 first round draft pick. They had to trade the rest for Khalil Mack.
Oh my Lord.
And that one was the biggest dud in history.
Oh man. I think trading as many first round picks as you have to get, because I think with Russell too, I'm not sure his age. I think he's like in his early 30s maybe.
He's but like 31 or 2.
Yeah, the quarterback position now, and I'm not too sure about Russell Wilson's injury history, but like these guys are playing like I said, they're not
40 now,
Tom's age, but they're playing way older. So you could be looking at 9, everything works out, 9 to 10 years of Russell. And if you look at Green Bay, we don't know what Love's going to do. Rodgers has maybe got 3-4 more years left. So if you already have an established guy, that could be, like you say, legendary, because then you could be the team running the division. Then you could be talking about you get into the playoffs and then Chicago, the whole lore of that. Yeah, I would give any quarterbacks that are like, the game changer guys, and I consider Russell being a game changer. I don't care how many picks, give it all up. Like you can't, as much, you wouldn't give 9 first round picks, but like if they say 3 or 4, okay, have it. I mean, now if they say, okay, we want 4 and Mac, that's tough to hear. But even that, I still might be like, I still might do it, because it's like, Russell, you get that quarterback right, everything, it just doesn't matter. Everything
makes the job easier, man. Makes the job easier.
Clear cap space too.
Yeah,
you clear some cap space with Mac's contract. You eat up Russell's, right, and then just hope you could. Because I think if they can bring Russell in or Deshaun, whichever, that automatically entices Allen Robinson to sign or you accept the franchise tag. They could go after Kenny Galladay. I'm high on Darnell Mooney, Zoo. I think he'll be good with a guy that could throw a deep ball. If they can get a guy who can throw a deep ball, which Russell Wilson for sure can.
Yeah, he can.
That core could end up being relatively scary with Montgomery in the backfield too, who's an excellent receiving back. So with his mobility, man, that fits Nagy's system. That's why they somewhat liked Trubisky, was his mobility. And Russell's just a Hall of Fame version of that.
Yeah.
And he's a quick learner, and you can tell that. So
comparing Russell Wilson to Trubisky is like comparing different species, man.
Exactly.
Their arm talent is just not the same.
It isn't.
Yes.
The only thing is their mobility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, Russell, he fits that he would be able to last in the Chicago weather. His style, he's got enough arm strength. He'd be perfect.
And he's dealt with this shitty Seattle weather for all the years, man. It's not much better, just a different environment.
Deshaun, I would have more. I still think he would still be fine in Chicago, but I don't know. I think him being a warm weather quarterback, I think that's the thing. But Deshaun's going to play wherever. I'm interested to see where both of those quarterbacks are going to go. Like I said, this is what's making me more interested in the NFL, man. Just seeing storylines like this, like, is it going to happen? Is all this stuff that everybody's, is all this drama? Probably not, but it's interesting to see, like, potentially these guys are being more vocal and something could happen. And Like you say, we're still waiting on Deshaun to see what's ultimately going to happen, if he's going to get traded or not. And it just makes the NFL offseason a whole lot more interesting to look at as like a little side thing while the NBA is going on. So we're going to look into that. Like I said, March Madness is right around the corner. I think March actually starts next week. So we're going to be getting deep into those topics to see which teams are true contenders, brackets and all that type of, jazz. I think the tournaments come up first, then the real tournament. We're going to be doing maybe brackets and stuff like that. And, the NBA is, I think, All-Stars coming up, and, playoffs is right around the corner. So it's going to be heavy basketball, guys, with a sprinkle, a couple topics of NBA or NFL. But as usual, make sure you guys follow us on bullheaded_pod. A lot of great content daily, putting out all kind of breaking news, things like that with the podcast and the sports that's being covered. And as usual, for me, P. Bush and Zoo, we're out.